Hello, this is History Shorts with the Artifactual Scholar. Today, I'll be talking about Thomas Nast's crusade against Tammany Hall. During the late 19th century, urban and state politics in the United States were dominated by the so-called political machines, organizations that used patronage, bribery, and charity to gain votes and, by extension, power and influence. The most notorious political machine was that of the New York City Democratic Party, headquartered at Tammany Hall. At its peak, between the 1850s and 1930s, Tammany Hall virtually controlled all of New York City politics. In the 1860s and early 1870s, Tammany Hall was run by William M. Boss Tweed, who used his position to place his allies in political office, minimize the threat from his political opponents, and make himself incredibly wealthy. Tweed's political influence was so vast that, in the late 1860s, his candidates won elections as mayor of New York City, governor of New York, and speaker of the state assembly. By 1870, Tweed and his associates had, through the creation of new city offices, gained full control of New York City's treasury. The corruption and graft that had earlier been a dirty little secret was now being conducted on an unprecedented scale, as tens of millions of dollars disappeared from the treasury into private pockets. Public building projects, like the new county courthouse in Lower Manhattan, became cash cows for Tweed and his friends. Yet there were many New Yorkers who were concerned with Tammany Hall's dishonesty and began to ask questions or openly criticize Tweed. Thomas Nast, a German-born newspaper illustrator, was one of the many citizens who was increasingly disgusted by Tweed's avarice. Through the use of editorial cartoons, Nast attacked Tammany and Tweed and highlighted the brazen thievery and corruption. Some of New York's newspapers also exposed Tweed's activities, but Nast's illustrations were particularly effective. In fact, Tweed reportedly remarked, "I don't care a straw for your newspaper articles. My constituents don't know how to read, but they can't help seeing them damned pictures." By the early 1870s, Nast's cartoons had become more pointed, focusing mainly on Tweed as the organ of corruption. At the same time, some of Tweed's cronies, feeling that they were not getting their share of the spoils, turned over incriminating documents to the New York Times. The combination of documentary proof and editorial cartoons eventually turned the public against Tammany Hall. In the election of 1871, most of the Tweed-backed candidates lost. Tweed's downfall followed soon thereafter. By 1873, Tweed had been tried, convicted, and sentenced to 12 years in prison. That sentence was reduced to 1 year in prison on appeal in 1875. Despite his conviction, Tweed was occasionally allowed out of jail to visit his family. During one of these visits in December 1875, Tweed ran away, first to New Jersey, then Florida, Cuba, and eventually Spain. Tweed was captured in Spain in 1876 by Spanish authorities who recognized him because of Nast's cartoons. He was sent back to New York and imprisoned. Tweed died of pneumonia in jail in April 1878. Boss Tweed was one of the most corrupt public figures in American history. At his peak, he controlled New York City politics and robbed with impunity the New York City Treasury. But his power and wealth were undone by the work of an immigrant newspaper cartoonist. This has been History Shorts. Thanks for watching.